part of the Manzanilla you will encounter in the, this is the part of paloma you will encounter here. Not very deep. So, sort of like a little like a trophy. Yeah. Everything here is from trophies up. Yeah. You only get the deep stuff when you go to Manzanilla Bay with that San Jose. That is a little bit deeper. That's when you're getting onto just at the shelf edge. Right? But what fools you here is the amount of shale you see in this section. You think that you're in a very deep water environment. But did anybody notice we passed a lot of these big channels? And lignite beds.
Yeah, right.
Right. Lignite beds contain a lot of sulfur in them.
Which says in marine.
Which is sort of like a intertidal mixing area, right? Which indicates that. So you're in a very shallow environment, but there's not a lot of sand in it. If you compare this to the Miaro, you know, if you're going on that delta, it's supposed to look like the Miaro, you're going to be fooled with this. And actually, when I first came out here, I was like, I want to change my thesis topic because I'm not seeing anything here. I'm not looking at anything. But as you start to delve into it, some other things are these big sand beds. I've interpreted them to be tidal channels. And what they actually do is that they cut into the actual deltaic stuff below them. At this step, I'm kind of in two minds because I'm not seeing any actual cutting into the ones that are further that we pass going up the beach. We actually see the channel cutting into the delta. These I haven't seen any cuts, but they still have the same comic beds and the same sort of features that we see in those other parts. So if anybody can argue with me and prove to me that those are non-conformable beds, I'm welcome to the argument because I'm still on the fence as to whether they're conformable or not. So what you see between these two sand beds is the delta. What we're standing on here is the lower delta fascies, and between those two sand beds are the upper delta fascies. Don't be fooled by the fact that they don't have a lot of sand in them. They're actually quite proximal. On top of them, you will see a cool sort of lignite bed. It's around the corner. There's a lignite bed right there. And then on top of that is possibly a tidal channel. Then you go back into this sort of fascies. There's a deepening. And then you go up into the lignite bed. There's no sand section. And that repeats itself as you go up the section. So you go from very silty into there's actually fine sand in this if you examine it closely, but it's very wavy bedded tidal sequence up into lignite, and it might go as far as a paleosalt. Be careful, it's very slippery.
Why do you think it's not a lot of sand?
Excuse me?
Why is it?
Because this area
Everything stayed in Trinma.
Excuse me?
Everything stayed in Trinma.
Yeah, well, everything stayed south of this. This was an arm of the old Orinoco, sort of like a side feeder that tried to make it into this northern basin. So what you had was the northern range to the north, you had the central range, sort of emergent, and you had this very narrow basin. And this basin was being fed by a sort of smaller arm of the Orinoco. But in one of my things I wrote, I said, you know, this is a little delta that couldn't, you know, tried to get to the stage where it was going to be like the Miaro, but it couldn't. It was just facing too much, you know, forces, so it was eventually pushed back.
It's just at the edge of the system. The bulk of the sediment would have to the south.
Right.
Being careful
Yes. Yeah. So this was just one area that, you know, it tried to do something and it didn't.